We don't know if people are ordering more from various popular e-commerce players or stores around you, fast delivery stores like Dunzo or Blinkit. What we are given to understand, Dunzo is looking at cutting cost. My young colleague Udisha joining us. Udisha, what's happening at Dunzo? I suppose they are letting go of 25% of their workforce.
Right. So as far as the recent coverage is concerned, so Dunzo, the hyper local delivery, goods delivery application. So what it has done is that it has not credited 50% of the salaries of its employees, and the number of employees that we are talking about would be somewhere around 500. So at present, as far as my understanding goes, the number of employees Dunzo has currently is 1000. So if they have not credited 50% of the salaries of the 500 employees, it's a big thing. Plus, it is also looking at cutting the cost, because there is news that Dunzo might come up with its IPO, initial public offering, in 2025. So there is a pressure also from the investors that the management, turns profitable before that period of time. So there is no clear indication in terms of what exact number would be there if there is going to be a job cut. But since the company is in the process of optimizing, cost optimization, there is a possibility, and reports are saying that there could be job loss. But the June salary, the 50% June salary of around 500 employees have not been yet credited.
It's a real bummer. It's a real bummer, because these are people who carry your food, who carry your retail items, your quick 9-minute delivery, which is when you don't have a spice, they bring you home that spice, be it rain, be it sunshine, and you don't give them salaries on time.
No, Shweta, that's not exactly the case. I think in this case, particularly in the case of Dunzo, only senior manager and above, those with a salary of 75,000 rupees a month or more, their salaries have been delayed. So, I would...
not the delivery
Not
persons.
the delivery. The delivery agents, in any case, from my understanding, would be contracted for, right? And there would be payment, some fixed component and some payment per delivery, right? So, to my best understanding, their wages have not been compromised on. And the step taken by Dunzo is for senior manager and above employees with a salary threshold of 75,000 rupees per month and more. In their case, 50% has been credited already, and the company has promised that the balance 50% will be credited before the 25th of July. So, as I'm reading this, there is a cash crunch in Dunzo. There is perhaps, this need right now to strap in as much cash as they can, collect more income during the month, and then credit the salaries back. Unfair, of course, it is, no matter whether, we're talking about the delivery boys or the senior managers or above. It is definitely sad and unfair, but I think it is also some sort of a correction being done at Dunzo, that it does not want to perhaps burn more money of its investors. And Odisha, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Google and Reliance Retail are the two major investors in Dunzo. So it doesn't seem to be as much about a case of burning investors' cash to pay salaries. But to me, it seems like making enough cash from operations to be able to afford salaries. And then, of course, going forward in time, some sort of rationalization measures cannot be, discarded right now, that it may want to look at trimming its workforce and making sure that cash from operations is able to sustain the business rather than cash coming in through way of investments.
All right. So, of course, cash is needed, and appears that Dunzo does not have enough of it. It's interesting to point out, Dunzo was a late entrant in Delhi. It was an early entrant in Bangalore, which is where it was extremely famous. I remember coming to Delhi, nobody knew what Dunzo is. Dunzo has just made an entry. It does not appear that it's been profitable for Dunzo to come into the northern market, Karthik.
I don't know, Shweta. I haven't seen. It's an unlisted company, and what gets reported usually is not profits but valuation in the case of startups. So I don't know specifically about profitability, but when you talk about competition, you know for a fact that Zomato-owned Blinkit is not profitable.
Not profitable,
right?
Absolutely.
But on the contrary, Swiggy-owned Instamart is on the verge of breaking even on cash from operations, right? So overall, I think the quick commerce market is is something that has become fairly essential to the way we buy, the way we consume, especially in metro cities, and is not something that you would write off immediately as a not profit making business. I think people still see a lot of potential for these businesses to scale up and add value back to the investors, and as a result of which, and this overall change that they've been able to influence in consumer behavior, I think all these companies are here to stay, the quick commerce companies. Now, of course, it's a matter of time before some of them would possibly consolidate, some of them would make profit, some of them would offset more of their stake and raise more capital, and some of them may not eventually see through the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years.
Absolutely.
Right. So, but I think e-commerce, quick commerce as a segment of e-commerce is here to stay, and let's see which are the winners in that market.
And not just commerce in general, quick commerce and e-commerce companies, as they reported profits surging as much as 24% in the second quarter. We will, of course, keep tracking all those details. Udisha, Karthik, thanks very much for joining with your inputs on that story.